Hey yogis, I'm Nicole. Welcome to my yoga time. Today's short yoga snack is especially suitable for the evening to unwind and undo the day's tension, but of course you can practice it any time of the day. I will get in early if you are a regular to my channel or to any other yogis channel for that matter. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. A lot of time goes into planning, recording, editing and uploading these classes, and it's a wonderful way to support free yoga on YouTube. So I've got 2 blocks for this practice, and when you're ready we'll come down onto your back. And taking reclined butterfly pose, so soles of the feet to meet, knees to fall out wide. Now you might like to place your blocks one under each leg, especially if you've got any discomfort in those hips. But even if you are quite supple in the hips, it's nice to have the blocks there so that we're not hanging so strongly on those hip joints. So when you're ready, either tuck those shoulders under and let the palms face the ceiling. Feel free to connect index finger and thumbs for Chin Mudra. Or if your shoulders permit, we'll take those arms above the head, holding opposite elbows in the hands. Closing the eyes down. Softening the forehead. And positioning the tip of the tongue where the teeth meet the roof of the mouth. Feeling space between the top and bottom teeth. The jaw is relaxed. So do find a gentle tone through the back of your throat. You may even hear the sound of the breath rolling over the back of the throat. And breathing down into the hips and thighs, feeling navel expand as you do so. And once you're there, hold the breath for 1 or 2 counts before you exhale very slowly and relax the back. And now with each exhalation, I encourage you to engage Mula Bandha. So find a tone at your base. So again, we'll inhale, let the navel expand, let the body be soft. And then when you begin to hold the breath, the ladies can find a tone through the pelvic floor. Feel the lower abdominal muscles engage and hold this as you exhale. Then relax these muscles as you inhale. Be soft. Let the breath descend. And on the exhalation, the out-breath ascends. Let's do 3 more. When you're ready, float those arms down if they're overhead. Let's bring those knees together. And just move your hips over to the left just a touch. Straighten your right leg. Take a hold of your left knee. From here, move into a twist, and you might like to place your block underneath that knee, either on the second or the lowest height. Now, a few choices here. You might choose to stay as you are in this twist, or if it's available for you, take your right leg back a little, bend the knee, and collect the foot. So if your hips or your lower back aren't happy here, release the foot and enjoy the twist. Let's continue to breathe down into the lower body. We'll take 3 more breaths here. See if you can witness all 3 breaths. And on your 3rd exhalation, release the foot if you have it. Return to your back. Moving to the other side, hips over to the right just a touch. Taking your right knee to the left. If your right shoulder's not happy here, you can always take the arm down next to the back as opposed to taking it out to the side. And if you did on the other side, take your left leg back just a little, bend the knee and collect your foot. Be careful not to overstrain. Soften any tension that may have crept into the jaw. In this practice, we want to unwind the tension, not create any more. Three more breaths. Remember to pause before you exhale. And on your 3rd exhalation, release the foot, return to your back. So coming up to seated now, if you need to, roll to one side and push yourself up. Otherwise, we'll cross at the ankles, take a hold of your big toes, and begin to rock and roll forwards and backwards. So we'll do this a few times before coming all the way up to seated. Well done, yogis. So let's position your blocks at the top of your mat. Come over onto all fours. So having those hands underneath the shoulders, but see if you can take the pinky fingers out to the edges of your mat, spreading the fingers wide, curling those toes under, and inhale into your back bend, exhaling to round. Follow your breath. Option 1, continue this motion if you have any concerns with your wrists or shoulders. Otherwise, when you exhale, round the back and press into the pads of the fingers as you take the hips up and back. Holding here as you inhale. And then when you begin to exhale, slowly bring those knees back down to the mat. And follow the inhalation into your back bend. So when we move mindfully with the breath, it becomes a moving meditation. We'll do one more. Coming up into your downward facing dog, we'll hold this downward facing dog. So here in our downward facing dog, let's practice our lion's breath. We'll do 3 rounds. So inhale through the nose, and then when you exhale, stick out your tongue, eyes wide, and ha out the breath. Last one. Well done. Transition the weight into your left foot. Raise the right leg. Option 1, keep the hips square and that leg straight. Option 2, lift the right hip, stack it on top of the left. Bend the knee, look under your armpit. So the hip is high and the knee is pointing up towards the ceiling. Flex your right foot as though you're kicking something away. Press into the pads of the fingers. Let's take one more breath here. And then straighten the legs, square the hips, and we'll exhale into Pigeon Pose. Right knee behind the right wrist, and lengthen your left leg behind you. Now for many, this won't be an option depending on knees and hips. So if that's you, I want you to lean over to the right, bend your left leg, and create a right angle through the backs of both legs. So your right shin, left thigh are parallel to one another and the short side of the mat. So if you're in this position, you'll fold off a little further to the right. You might use your block underneath the head for support. If you're in your pigeon pose, heel can be a little closer to the groin. Back leg is extended. Let's briefly tuck those toes under and lift the inner thigh so you're inwardly rotating. And then feel free to uncurl those toes. We're going to fall forward. So up to you here how you support your head. You might like to make a pillow or fist with the hands. I like to use the blocks in a T-shape, especially in an evening practice. So the vertical one's going to line up with the sternum and the horizontal one is for the head. So it feels as though you're being held in this position. And let's check the position of the tongue once again, keeping the jaw relaxed. Breath awareness into the lower back, the outer hips. You're here for 3 more breaths. Pausing before you exhale. Follow your 4th inhalation, coming up and out of the pose, positioning your blocks to the side if you were using them. Let's return to our downward facing dog. And feel free to give the legs a little walk. Then when you're ready, let's raise the left leg. Option again to lift the hip and bend the knee. Look under your armpit. Take a spacious inhalation. And then straighten the legs, square the hips, pigeon pose left side, or of course lean over to your left and bend both legs. And of course if your left hip is up quite high, you could always prop it up with your block or even a rolled up towel if you're needing a little extra support. Otherwise, if you did so on the other side, make that T-shape with your blocks and settle down into the pose. Whichever part of the body has caught your awareness is where you're sending your breath. Follow your next inhalation, coming out of the pose. Let's take those blocks to the top of the mat once again. Return to your downward facing dog. Feel free to walk out those legs. When you're ready, inhale, raise the right leg. Look forward, step through into a low lunge. So if the foot's landing back here, just picking it up with your hand and giving it a lift. Left knee can settle down onto the floor. Now for your choices, you might choose to stay here with the hands low, recruiting your blocks. You could take the hands to your knee, gently interlace the fingers and press down. And while you're here, try to drag the feet towards one another and a little tone through your left buttock, just to support your back and your hips. You might choose to stay here. Final variation, take those arms behind you, interlace those fingers, opening the heart center. Chin lifts, throat moves forward. Inhale. And exhale, release those hands down. Let's take a hold of those blocks. We're going to step up into your pyramid pose. So bring that left foot in a little bit closer. Left foot's on a 45-degree angle. Take a few breaths with the heart lifted. So here we want to press the feet away from one another as though you're stretching the mat. Lift the tailbone and the heart, and you'll feel that a little more in those hamstrings. Inhale. And then as you exhale, fold over that leg. You might choose to lower your blocks, or if you don't need your blocks, hands can come to the floor. Feel free to bend this right knee a little, and maybe you can bring your belly to touch your thighs. Keep pressing the feet away from one another. Allow the back to round here, and gently push the palms down and try to slide them forward. Inhale, and as you exhale, step that left foot back, return to a lunge. This time we'll take a twist, right arm up. So still stretching the mat with your feet, roll your left shoulder in towards your right knee. Inhale, and exhale, right hand down, step it back into your downward facing dog. Left leg up. Look forward, step through. Let's find your lunge. Gently pressing those feet towards one another. Feel free to stay there, or if it's available for your shoulders, hands behind you, interlace those fingers. Let the heart lift. Inhale, and exhale, release those hands, recruit your blocks once again, stepping up into your pyramid pose. And a few breaths, keeping the heart lifted, tailbone lifted. And here you can try to turn your left heel in a little and your right heel out, and that will help to square up those hips. And let's exhale, fold over that leg now, pushing palms down and forward, tucking in the chin. Let's step that right foot back, lower back into your lunge, find your twist. Inhale, and exhale, bring that left hand down, step it back now into your very last downward facing dog. Be sure to press into the pads of the fingers and try to squeeze the heels of the palms in just a little. Inhale, and exhale, bring those knees down to the mat. So two choices here, yogis, depending on your knees and your hips. You might choose to keep the bottom up nice and high and take your puppy pose, extending arms in front, forehead meeting the mat or the block. Arms can stay straight, or you can bring those hands into prayer. If your knees and hips permit, let's take those knees as wide as the mat. Bring the big toes together, sinking back into a wide-legged child's pose. And here, feel free to take those hands to prayer above the head. Or if you're looking for something a little deeper, bring your blocks over. And we'll rest those elbows on the blocks. And let's lift the hand. Move the blocks to the side if you have them. Come down onto your navel. Extend those arms out in front, lifting the heart, and try to drag the hands back towards your hips. It should feel quite soothing along the spine, all those muscles engaged. Inhale. And exhale, lower down. Let's roll onto your back. So once on your back, let's bring those feet as close to the bottom as you can. Turn the palms to face up, tuck the shoulders under. Option to take your mudra once again. Let's press into those feet, tuck the tailbone, and then as you inhale, float the hips up. Keep pressing into the feet. And then we'll pick up the heels and exhale, lower down one vertebrae at a time. Heels are last to touch down. When they do, press the feet down, tuck the tailbone, inhale, coming up. Picking up the heels, exhale to lower. Coming up again. And this time, take a hold of your block. So two choices, or three choices actually. Option one, block is on the flat side. Option two, block is on the second height. Option three, you might like to take two blocks on the flat side and stack them on top of one another, and then allow your back to rest down. Feel free to close the eyes down once again. Observe the breath moving the body. Take one more breath. And when you're ready, pick up the heels and the hips at the same time. Remove your blocks and lower down one vertebrae at a time. When you touch down to the mat, let's cup the hands over the knees. Arms as straight as you inhale, bend the elbows as you exhale. If you need longer with this motion, please take it. Otherwise, your next exhalation, those feet will find their way down to the mat. Let's move the hips just a little to the left. Cross your left leg over the right leg, and we'll twist over to the right, block underneath the legs for support. If it feels okay for your neck, move the back of the head to the right, and then turn your head to the left. If this is too intense on your hips, you can uncross the legs and place a block in between your thighs instead. Breathing into your lower belly, your lower back. A moment to pause when you get there. And then exhale very slowly. If you have the urge to ha out the breath, feel free to do so. In your next inhalation, bring those legs back to center. We'll change sides. Hips moving a little to the right. Coming down into your twist. And once you settle into the pose, witness your breath. In your own time, we'll bring those knees back to center. Moving into Savasana now, and I encourage you to place a block under each leg, underneath those thighs. Tucking the shoulders under, turning the palms to face the ceiling. Feel free to find your Mudra once again. Closing the eyes down and softening the forehead. I'm relaxing my feet. My feet are relaxed. I'm relaxing my legs. My legs are relaxed. I'm relaxing my back. My back is relaxed. I'm relaxing my arms. My arms are relaxed. I'm relaxing my head. My head is relaxed.